it's only fitting that on the most ominous of holidays, we have the most ominous theme music. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this Halloween special of the Game Changer podcast. I am NateFNGreat, being joined here by the ghouliest of ghouls, of course, my lovely co-host, VictoriBelle, or should I say, Stacy Slaughters. Happy Halloween, first of all.
Yeah, happy Halloween. It feels more like Christmas here in Chicago, but geez, already snowing.
Yeah, it was crazy. You were telling me about that, and we actually have not gotten any snow, at least in my section. In no other parts of Wisconsin, it has snowed. I think over at Green Bay, I had a friend of mine basically saying, "What are you doing? It's October!" And
yeah, this is number 2.
Number 2, man. Oh, this is it's going to be a very interesting season where we come into it. But you know something, when it comes to our nation and it comes to the weirdness that we have kind of welcomed into our lives, I can kind of say that it's not to be expected at this point. It's one of those things where it's like, it's whatever. But we're doing a Halloween-themed episode. We usually do these every year, and it's only fitting that we continue doing that. So we're actually going to start off with a movie review. This is actually a movie that was suggested by my co-host. There's been a lot of Netflix movies that have been hitting the scenes, and one of them has been Eli, but another one that has been relatively well received was back in 2016, was the Autopsy of Jane Doe. So we're getting a little late to the party, but finally getting the chance to actually watch this. Honestly, this was one of those movies I had zero expectations going into it, except for the fact that it's another Netflix horror film. I think the last one that I saw was either Open House or The Babysitter, but The Babysitter was more like a horror comedy, but what do you expect? But yeah, Open House, it had the thrills, it had the chills, I just didn't like the way it ended. I can almost say the same thing about this movie, but we'll get more into that when we dive into this review. Honestly, let's just get right into it. It kind of starts off very grisly, very gruesome, with police officers coming to a house where it looks like there has been a murder. At least 3 people were killed, and then they uncover a dead body buried in their basement, which was, obviously, a lot of people know that if it's an unidentifiable body, it's known as a Jane Doe. So they actually hit on that a little later on. Then we go into introducing the characters that work in the morgue. A father-son kind of duo who basically it's one of those like generation deals where the dad's been doing it for so long, the son's doing it kind of to continue the family heritage a little bit, but he does have other ideas of what he wants to do with his life. And it also introduces a small minor character of, you know, the son's girlfriend who barely gets a little bit of screen time, but I will say she has kind of one of those moments where she basically is trying to figure out, what her boyfriend's job is, how everything goes. Even gets to see some of the dead bodies that are in the deals. It just is one of those things where it's like, well, I mean, I give the girl credit for, wanting to, I don't know if I would say embrace, but definitely kind of, understand what, her boyfriend goes through. And it is kind of one of those things where we do get a couple of scares that she actually gets the crap scared out of her, because one of the dead bodies has a bell on his toe, and that, in the olden times, is basically...
When I heard that, I'm sorry, I was like, oh, gross, damn it. I knew that was going to be something. I mean, like, they don't tell you that.
Right.
I hated the fact that it was a morgue. I hate scary movies.
Basically, the bell on the toe is basically to help people know whether or not, the dead body still has life or not. Which, I've seen that in a lot of other movies, and I definitely can agree with the fact that they have at least been a little accurate with that. Then they get into the situation where we bring in the Jane Doe, and this is where things get very interesting. One of the things that they kind of notice the fact is that she shows no signs of, like, strangulation, no stab wounds. It's like her body is just completely, perfectly preserved. And yeah, it's kind of one of those things where, as a guy, it's like, oh man, it's like a pretty pale white girl for all we know. Trust me, beauty is only that far, guys, because once you get to see what's behind the skin, it gets to be pretty gruesome and very terrifying, actually. So, yeah, I think we'll kind of turn this over to my co-host, since she is the one that kind of brought it on, but I think it's kind of wanting to know her perspective on what kind of happens from here. So, please, by all means, what happens when they encounter this Jane Doe?
So basically when they start to do the autopsy, which, I don't know, it was all a pretty creepy experience with them being in a basement of this old house type of thing, and you're like, they live there and cut open bodies there. And like, just in like the beginning of like being like, these are the 3 bodies we have already. I'm like, oh, gross. And like, wasn't the one with the bell, the guy with, I'm pretty sure he had his face blown off, right?
Yes, I think that was...
Like, he killed himself or got killed. One person was like, burned incredibly, right?
Yep.
And then I forget what the third person... she, all of her, like, appendage, like, her eyes and her mouth and everything were, like, stapled shut.
Yeah, that was a bit of a, that was really kind of creepy, that amount of detail they put into these bodies. So it definitely could tell that, hey, you don't need to have complete CGI to make the movie great. You just have to have practical effects, and you can create a really damn good standout movie.
Yeah, and like, so they kind of show you these bodies, and you're like, oh great, what's gonna happen with these bodies? Because I already knew, I'm like, something's gonna happen. So the moment they start cutting into Jane Doe, and like, they find like a fly like comes out of her nose and stuff, and like they find like this thing in her body, and they find scars and scripture and everything, and they're like, whoa, this is messed up. And I don't know what triggers it, but basically like the radio that they play for the like pump up music of cutting open dead bodies turns to this really creepy old like 60s song. You ever do that, you're gonna start creeping me out. Like when the music turns to like, like it was a really creepy like Sunshine song. And then like basically like, oh gosh, the power goes out. Oh, is everybody okay? And it's a dad and father like autopsy team. And then they're like, we're okay, oh man. They like turn back on the lights, and sure enough, all the bodies are gone. And I'm like, like I knew this was gonna happen. And basically she was like bringing them back to life or something. I don't 100% remember how it happened. I watched it like a month ago, and that's why I told you about it, because I'm like, it was really scary. I didn't like it. Do you know what happened, actually? I
do, and I actually do want to take like a little pit stop, because again, the practical effects and all the details they did with, the dissecting of her body, but also the thing that kind of stood out to me, and this was what I was saying to you when I was watching it the other day, was that the way that the girl, they did the whole deal where they were checking on, like everything with her, her mouth, her nose. When they got to the eyes, that was one of those moments where it's like, okay, this is starting to get really creepy for me, because when you think of like soulless eyes, a lot of people will go straight to like the doll eyes that they had with the like either the ceramic kinds or the classic dolls. This was one where I took it to a new level. Just having a woman literally have, have the white eyes, but also like the pupils and stuff are just also kind of white as well, or kind of gray. That's just freaky as hell. And just having those,
it was really realistic.
And having those moments where you just, kind of focus on this, and then you pan over to her face, and it's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, no, go to other scene, please, other way, please. No, I don't want this anymore. That was just me.
Did you like the fly?
The fly was a very good effect. I will say that.
Yeah, wasn't it on her eyeball at one point?
I think it.
Because I think it came out of her nose and stuff, but it was like I was like, oh.
It was one of those things where it's like, okay, this is kind of bizarre. Yeah, they go into a little more in-depth stuff, but it's like, the deeper that they dig into her body, the more crazy, almost paranormal stuff just keeps happening. At one point, they actually discover their cat, Stanley, which got introduced a couple times. And I will say this.
Oh, yeah.
Stanley actually hisses when the body comes into the morgue. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, animals can know when something bad is going to happen. And I think he kind of knows that shit is going down. So after that hiss, we don't see him for a while until he appears in a ventilation shaft, and he's been completely just wrecked. He's just been completely decimated, in all honesty, to the point where obviously it seemed like the only humane thing to do was to put it out of its misery. And they actually they don't necessarily show the graphicness of this, but you can kind of feel it. And it's really weird how you only see that cat for a while, but I think that for a lot of people that are either cat lovers or animal lovers, you can still sense the kind of connection that the dad has to the cat and how hard it was to do this, because that cat's been around for God knows how long. And he even kind of said, he even kind of talks about how he feels bad about, being mean to the cats and just doing that kind of deal. He starts cremating it and tells his son, just give me a minute, I will be back to help. Again, more crazy paranormal stuff continues to happen, and then we find out that the reason why these things are happening is that they tie in the Salem witch trials. In all honesty, that was a nice effect. That was a nice detail. That was kind of one of those things okay, this is kind of interesting. And they basically talk about how there were a lot of innocent women who were put on trial and found, and quote unquote found guilty. So a lot of innocent blood was spilled when that happened. And it's one of those situations where it's okay, they found, they killed all these innocent women. This one was obviously not an innocent woman. She obviously was a witch, and she was not done. They even mentioned the fact that she was still quote unquote alive. This was one of those situations okay, so her body is basically dead, but her spirit is basically still alive. Again, great detail right there, but also a really freaky one. Again, just because of the fact that we literally have to look at this gray-eyed, pale woman just do absolutely nothing, but in fact she's doing a lot of shit. We get some nice little chase scenes involved here, where we have it seems the bodies of that were in the morgue are basically chasing them, and even there comes a point where I
couldn't watch that stuff. I was like, no, because I don't want to see their faces. I already know they're effed up.
Well, at least the good part of it was that you didn't see too much of their faces, but you kind of still sensed the presence there. And I think what made it really... I
think you saw the, stapled eye person.
Okay.
And that's when I was like, I'm done.
I feel like this is one of those movies that if you were watching it with your sister, she would be like, nope, you're staying here and you're watching.
I was watching it with my sister.
Well,
and I was watching it, but they were just cracking up. They were making fun of me. Well, I have to look, okay, and there are people out here that are like me. I have to use my V fingers and stick them right under my eyes so that I can easily close my eyes, because my eyelids won't be fast enough to close if a scary thing comes. So...
Okay.
You put your fingers in a V formation by your eyes, and you look through the cracks. And then if something scary comes, you go, whoop, real quick. You're like, ah! And then you shut it. Because my imagination is so advanced, I'm going to say, that if I don't shut my eyes, I will see that in the dark when I wake up to go to the bathroom or something. And then I will pee my pants. So that's what happens when you have a very high level of imagination, and that's why I don't watch scary movies.
I was about to say maybe like a high anxiety level when it comes to these kind of movies, like you were saying. And I want to just take a moment right here and just say that right now, I would actually love the idea of just sitting with watching a horror movie with you and your sister. That way, it's literally like those situations where it's like two people. Hey, we're kind of getting interested in this. And then there's just this one person that's just cowering in a corner, like, let me know when the movie's over.
Yeah, it's the worst. It's really awful. Like, my sister and her friend are horror people, and they think it's fun to watch horror movies. I think I'm okay with most horror movies, but like this, like you even said it. I was like, this is a scary movie. Like, it's creepy. Well, and you were like, this actually is. I'm like, yeah, most horror movies aren't this scary, I feel like. And now that it's over, like, oh, it's not that scary. But during it, your first time watching, you're like, I don't know what's going to pop up and what's coming out of this girl's body, and I don't like it. But yeah, I guess back to the theme. So when they start getting chased by these bodies, right, they're trying to get out of the house, or out of the basement. And a storm, I guess, has locked them in. And then they try to use the elevator, and the moment they're trying to get on the elevator, they like get in, and they're like, the bodies are trying to come through the elevator. So does the guy exit the body, or did the dad axe the body?
It was the dad who axed the body, and one of probably the most, I don't know if I want to say cliche moments, but definitely one of those moments where I think it's been utilized more frequently than not. The body that was axed turned out to be the son's girlfriend, and that was kind of those things where it's like, oh no, come on. Yeah,
that was pretty bad. I was like, ooh, ouch. But it just kind of shows you that it was less like something's going on in their mind, and they're kind of going crazy, and then it kind of brings you to think about what happened at the beginning of like all those people going crazy in that house and why the body's here in the first place. You're like, oh. It is. They think so too, right? They're like, oh gosh, this body's seriously cursed.
Yeah, it is really weird how they kind of do a great job of just connecting everything, and I really liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I liked the connection, the plot for it. But getting back to the story, yeah, they basically do get a little more deeper, even to the point where they do see that her skin was actually covered by another layer of skin that actually had the tapestries and all these signias and everything like that. That was basically revealing, that she was cursed. She was a witch. We go a little bit later, and while they still try, doing everything that they can, it is a situation where the dad realizes, okay, maybe the best way to do this is to give her what she wants, and that is, essentially, it's him. Basically, it seems like she's living off these life forces, so he's basically taking his life force to continue legacy, and he's trying to, plead with the witch, basically saying, take me, I won't resist, just, please don't harm him. And it seems like, for the most part, it started working. We even get, this very interesting deal where we see, the dad's life force basically getting, taken out, and her body.
Every torture that happened to this witch that they were talking about was happening to him.
Yeah, they talk about the ankles being broken and the wrists being broken, and they discover that early on, which, oh gosh, that was just horrible, and it kind of reminds me of how scary those witch trials were. So in the end, it seems like they figure something out. The son is being told by the dad, you have to kill me to stop her. You have to kill me to stop her. And of course, the son does the whole deal where he's like, no, I'm not going to do it. In the end, he does it, and it seems like things are getting better, even though she's literally basically back to normal, meaning it doesn't even look like they did anything to her. That was
right. She healed.
It was just that was really freaky the way that she healed up. the son goes to where the spirit door deal was, where he is hearing the sheriff, who earlier on is basically talking about, I want the cause of death by morning. They find a way to contact him halfway through the movie, and it seems like he's here to save him. He keeps trying to open the door. The kid's like, I can't do it, and lo and behold, we had that da 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 sunshine. The sheriff starts singing that, and he's literally freaking out. And this is kind of where it gets to be a bit of like a spoiler with like how the ending goes. He backs up, he hits the railing, which is very rickety, and I think right then people are just like, yep, we know what's happening. We know what's happening at the end. So we get a final jump scare of like the dad's body. The son, he gets freaked out. He falls back into the railing, which breaks into pieces. He falls down, essentially dying. Sheriff and their team, they come down. They see the bodies. They see everything. The Jane Doe deal is still fine. And the sheriff is like, get this body out of here. And it's like, okay, yeah, we'll take it to this one. No, I don't want this in my county anymore. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like he knows that there's something weird that's going on with this body, but at the same time, he's not quite ready to like admit it. He kind of realizes that there's bad stuff that comes with this thing, so it's like, I don't want this anywhere near anybody. I don't want this anywhere near my county. We've had 2 instances where this happens. Get it out of here. So they said, okay, we'll take it more upstate, more up north. And we kind of end on one of the more surreal moments where, they're taking the body away. They do the whole panning deal where it's in the back of the the van. The guy there is just kind of goof around. It's like, oh yeah, I'll take care of you. And blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, you're trying to be funny at a really bad time, dude. Then we get the whole Sunshine song happen again.
On the radio.
They pan to the whole body from her head down to her feet, and then they ended off with just one token of flickering. You hear, ding. It's like, okay, that is a creepy way to end it. That's a good way to end it. So yeah, that was the Autopsy of Jane Doe. In all honesty, pretty good horror movie. My only issue about it is I was probably not a big a fan of the ending. And here's the thing about it. I understand that there's a lot of horror movies that will, of course, have that ending deal where it's like, oh, well, we got this ending deal to set up for a sequel or something like that. I don't know if I really see a sequel with, like, the Autopsy of Jane Doe really happening. It's a very interesting concept. It'd be a very interesting idea. But the fact where you see just about all these characters you get introduced, you kind of love, just die off. I mean, I guess it kind of embraces what an original horror movie is all about, but at the same time, it's not like a classic horror movie like, Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street or Halloween, where, you establish all these characters and you're just like, hey, you're going to like all these characters because they're going to be dead at the end of the movie. It's like, no, they actually at least have one person surviving from this entire deal. So why not actually have one person survive and actually be able to continue this and then actually make it built up into a sequel? Because it seems like the only person you could probably quote-unquote like by the end of this is the sheriff. The fact that he's making a smart decision and deciding, yeah, I want this body out of my county. It's like, that's only going to be a temporary solution, dude. I feel like you're going to be one of the next few people that dies off when this thing happens. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to nitpick too much about it. I'm not a fan of the ending. But other than that, I can't really say anything bad about this movie. It was really good. I honestly...
For Netflix. Like, it was just a Netflix movie.
I think that, we definitely have covered a lot of Netflix series and a couple movies here and there. They still do a pretty good job, even though they've, lost the deals out with Disney and a lot of other people. They're still thriving pretty well. So they have great content. It's just a matter of finding the right content with the right kind of story. And for me, for certain of them, they need to have the right ending where it's literally like, okay, you want me invested in this, find a way to get me invested in this. And the ending has to either have like, a fulfilling ending, or it has to have an ending that will make me say, yes, I like this movie in its entirety, or I'd like to see a sequel of this. Like I said, do I see an Autopsy of Jane Doe 2? Probably not, but I would not put it against them if it was very well received like it was. I think it was a movie that earned about $6 million in the box office, and honestly, it got really good reviews. It got an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes, so a lot of critics really like it. So maybe there is a good chance we'll see an Autopsy 2 movie.
See, that's my biggest problem with horror movies. Like, I loved the ending of this. I loved it. Like, finish it. Finish a freaking movie. Don't give me a sequel. I don't want a sequel to a horror movie. I want it to be done. Like, more movies nowadays need to have finalizations. I don't need trilogies of everything. And no offense to horror fans, especially not horror movies. I'm sorry. The main thing about a horror movie to me that makes it semi-good is the mystery that revolves around it. Like, what is this house? Why is it killing people? What is this clown? Why is it killing people? What is this? And in the movie, it will answer that question. And then, if you make another one, the answer is already there. So you're just making another one to give me another version of the same movie. And please prove me wrong if there is an actual sequel to a horror movie that isn't basically the exact same movie. All of the Saws, the same movie. All of The Ring, the same movie. All of The Grudge, the same movie. And people are like, no, but this time, it was a family. I was like, no way, a family did the exact same thing that the first one did? No way. And they're like, we know. And I'm like, oh man, that's really the same thing, and I don't care. Like, every single horror movie that has a sequel, the sequel is never better than the original, because the original, you had that mystery, and that's why I think people love horror movies, is that it's like, I want to figure out what happens, and I want to be a little freaked out about this. And the moment the monster is already revealed, it's not as good. Or give me a new monster, but if you give me a new monster, then just make a new movie. Like, why do we gotta have number 2? Like, so for me, I loved the ending. I loved that she killed everybody. I loved that they were trying to satisfy her cravings of death, and that she proved that she's a pure evil entity. Like they're like, no, I will take it. I will take the fall for you, my son. I love you. And she was like, okay, sweet. I'll kill them all. So she's like, sweet. I'll kill you really horribly by giving you all my sins and all my tortures. And I'm going to use you to kill yourself. I was like, no, she's evil as hell. And that's when the sheriff was like he never ever came to help them. He was like, oh, I came to pick the body up and everyone's dead, and now I'm scared of this body because everyone's always dead around her. And just like the original, it was less of they were killing each other, but they were killing each other trying to escape again. And you're like, why do they need to escape? It's creepy. And I love that they're like, fine, like, it's like this could happen over and over again, and it probably, if they wanted to make a 2, they totally can, because the body's going somewhere else. But guess what? It'll be the same movie, because we already know what she is. She's a witch that is possessed and has an evil spirit that will kill everything that tries to figure out her mystery. So I don't want to see a number 2. And if you have please tell me if there's a horror movie number 2 that actually continues to be a better story. But I know they're just the same thing.
I mean, I think there's a couple of people that would probably say, like, Insidious. I'm trying to think of, like, another one off the top of my head that might be...
Is it a different movie, though? I feel like it's still the possessed kid, right?
I don't think it is this time. I think it definitely goes through the... it goes through, like...
Or is it the house? I know, like, I haven't watched that movie. Yeah. But I know that it was like a possession.
Yeah, that was the first one, and then the second one I think was going through either the dad's perspective or something like that. I don't know. I'd have to watch it because I think I started watching it, but then I got sidetracked.
Yeah. And I know Paranormal Activity was interesting to watch 3 of them, but it was, it's day 21, guys. People about to die. Because I've seen the first 2.
Yeah. No, I definitely hear you there. Speaking of mystery, kind of making like a bit of a side transition here. So one thing that we definitely do like to talk about when it comes to Halloween, I mean, we have all the people, dressing up, and they're basically taking that one time a year to basically go all out and just be this, it's kind of one of those things where it's a sidetrack from reality. It's literally like the one time a year where you celebrate, like, it's literally Comic-Con, but it's like a national holiday. I mean, you could tell me that I'm wrong, but, you have, parents dressing up, you have kids dressing up, you have teenagers dressing up, everything like that. So one of the things that we like to do is talk about some of the best and the worst of costumes. Obviously, it being 2019, there has been a lot of inspirations for costumes. I mean, I looked at a list from, I think it was InspireMe.com. I have to look at this really quick because, trust me, we're going to be going into some of the best and the worst of the year. IndieWire.com actually did a Halloween costume ideas inspired by 2019's movies, and they've talked about a lot of different, characters. Jennifer Lopez's character in The Hustler, of course. Endgame gave us that very glorious idea of Fat Thor. So we've seen a lot of those characters kind of popping up. Also, they mentioned the Danny from Midsummer, who had like this complete bodysuit of flowers, which is honestly one of probably the most terrifying things I will ever see in a movie. And trust me, when you see that movie, it's literally one of those things that just mind-blowing as to what exactly happened, because you first think, got this all figured out. At the end, it's like, I have no idea how to feel anymore. It's that kind of movie, and if you don't believe me, check out my review with Max, where literally we were both just awestruck by it. And
what movie?
Midsummer. Not Midsummer, Midsummer. Sommer. Or it might be AR, but it is literally one of those movies that definitely is just crazy. Another one that was thrown out here was the girl from I got the name. Okay, Ready or Not, who she's basically trying to survive her in-laws who are trying to kill her for a ritual. Honestly, this was an absolutely awesome movie. I loved it. It was amazing. So having Grace Lee Domas as a reality character would be great. They also put in Roy McBride from Ad Astra. So if anybody's looking for like a sci-fi-ish kind of deal, you'll definitely probably want to do that. Or if you want to just do Thor, by all means. So yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that's inspired by it. But with every inspiration, with every good one, we have about, almost 10 or 20 horrible ideas. So we're definitely going to emphasize. We've definitely been a lot more positive throughout the time. So I think we're going to spend the rest of this podcast talking about the negative side of these costumes, whether they are, just absolutely wild or just absolutely horrible, inappropriate. Let's just get right into it. So
I'll end on the positives of what I like.
Okay.
I just have 3 of each that I don't want to overload people.
Okay. So I think the first one that I'll kind of hit on the fact is the generic kind. And what I mean by that is that you obviously know that they are trying to play off the fact that, that they are trying they ran out of ideas. So they thought, let's, without copywriting anything, let's have, like a mushroom princess or, the red plumber, stuff like that. They basically are just taking these deals and just saying, well, we're creating it into our own. We're actually making them into something that can't be trademarked by somebody else. It's like, yeah, but at the same time, you're trying to capitalize off of somebody else's success. So, and in a horrible way, I'm going to add that right now. One thing that you mentioned to me when we kind of talked about this was that you mentioned the name the Joker, and I'm like, whoa. Who can say that the Joker is a bad costume? Then I look at this list on Gizmodo.com, and I'm like, oh, okay, I understand now. Yeah, somebody did like a generic version of what the Joker was from this past year, and it's one of the most interesting, but also one of the most horrendous costumes I think I have ever seen. So you gotta stop with the generic ideas. You gotta have your own ideas in order for it to work. I mean, with DC, they're probably gonna still capitalize on so much of the great, my great comic book heroes that they have. Marvel's gonna do the same for them. Disney's gonna do the same for them. But if you try to make like, Ice Princess and Sister, it's like you're doing Frozen. You're being so generic that you can't even say the names. You might as well just put down, it's not Elsa, it's Isla. It's not it's not Anna, it's Annie. It's like you're confusing two people, okay? This is where it gets to be really weird. But yeah, I just had to throw the generic one in there because it covers a lot of ground. But at the same time, it does bring up the situation that they are people that are running out of ideas, so they're just thinking, hey, let's just take this, but make it a different name. Let's make it our own.
Generic costumes, I mean, they don't bother me. I get what you're saying, but they don't really bother me. So I guess, do you want me to do all three of mine, or what do you want me to...
Yeah, you can do all three of yours.
So my adults do's and don't list for 2019, and I've chosen some controversy, and I would like to also talk about some of this stuff, but I think, first off, I think it's of bad taste to do any zombies of dead people of the years within 5 years of your Halloween. I think that I've seen some zombies of, like people who recently passed, and you're like, ooh, like, kind of harsh. Like, let's not do that yet. Like, give them some time to have their bodies, like, buried and stuff before you do zombies of recent dead people or recent dead celebrities. I know people like to do David Bowie and everything, but, like, zombify him when he just died is kind of a little, off-tasting. Like, let's not do that. Like, I get it if you did, like, Michael Jackson Thriller, like, he played a zombie. That's understandable. But, like, let's wait, like, at least 5 years, and then maybe you can do zombies of them. But, okay, that was one. I saw one that's, like, the Flasher. I'm going to recommend no one do that costume. It actually is a costume of a coat and then a fake silicone suit with a dick and hairy and everything. And I'm like, might as well just be the Flasher if you're going to do that, because that's freaking creepy and you should get arrested. Very bad taste. Don't do it. It is just going to set you up for sexual harassment, and I don't think anyone thinks that's funny. Like, no one. Like, I don't think guys even think that's funny. They're just like, ooh, don't do that.
If I could just, like, pause right here, because I think that actually goes into another one that I was kind of, like, definitely noticed and definitely I'm saying, probably not a good idea that they would do this. You mentioned that if it's in, like, a TV series, like, one of the episodes of That 70s Show does feature the guys doing, like, a deal where they're going to streak when the President of the United States is going to be in there. That's just for, like, comedic effect, though. And that's kind of one of those things where you understand. Back in the 70s, there were people that did this kind of crazy shit. And, of course, sadly nowadays, we have people trying to do the same thing, where they're literally just like, oh, we're going to, be famous. We're going to streak across a football field or a baseball field, do that kind of stuff. It's like, nobody wants to see that anymore. People did the streaking deal because it was out of protest. You're just doing it because you're an idiot. When it comes down to the whole sexual harassment deal, I got to bring this up. The fact that they are, again, I mean, maybe this is not fair because there's a lot of people that are proud of their bodies, but at the same time, it feels like mainly they are continuing to objectify women as sex objects. And if you don't believe me, check out a lot of the costumes that they have. Sexy nurse, sexy superhero, sexy, toast even. At this point, it's like, it's just basically sexy or seductive, fill in the blank. And it is mainly women, and, you kind of brought up the whole male deal that, hey, this guy is basically trying to be a streaker, and, oh, it's got this girl. It's like, well, you got something fake here, but now you got, like, the real deal going on with women. And you know something? I don't want to be that person that is basically saying, it's like, you shouldn't be doing this kind of stuff, because everybody has a right to their own privacy. They have a right to live their own life. But at the same time, it's like, put a cap on these kind of costumes. It's literally one of those things where they're just like, oh, hey, do you want to dress up like a stripper? Hey, Halloween's the time to do it. It's like, no. It is about having fun. You can definitely find ways to, make it sexy, but definitely tone it down just a little bit, because last thing little Timmy needs to see is his mom looking like a sexy Jedi Knight, where it's literally, just bases of her top being covered as well as her bottom being covered, and then Timmy's scarred for life until about 18. Maybe that's a bad example, but you kind of understand the situation. Do you kind of understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. That Halloween isn't an excuse to just objectify yourself.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. I was going to say pimp yourself out, but I feel like somehow somebody's going to be a sensitive. You know what? We're in a hypersensitive world. I don't care at this point. I literally could say, hey, and somebody's going to take that as an insult. It's like, okay, whatever. So at this point, I'll know if I'm being like too insensitive, but there's just some points where it's like, I don't care anymore. So yeah, definitely don't pimp yourself out, and definitely tone down just a little bit of the sexiness when it comes to the costumes. That's just me. That is just me. Like I said, it kind of also brings the issue of, why is it that there's always these creepers here? Because the costume people are encouraging the creepers to come out and be like, oh, I want to see the sexy person. I want to see this lady wearing this. It's like, you're kind of encouraging it more than anything. Again, that's just me. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I can see, like, you definitely have the right to your opinion, and, I mean, that's the thing. I think everybody should just have the right to do what they want to do, but at the same time, it's like, if you don't want to be super duper offensive, that's where my list comes into play. And actually, it's, kind of helping you not get in trouble in general. That's why I said the flasher. Because it literally has a dick in the costume. like, if you want, you can do it. But you are actually being the flasher. So when the police arrest you tonight and put you on the sexual predator list, and you don't get a job anymore, that's on you.
I thought that was going in a different direction, where it's like, you're actually being a bit of a dick. I thought that's where you were going with that.
No. It's seriously, like, you literally are doing it. So, especially if you're doing it in public, like, that's upsetting. That's whatever. But yeah, and then the zombies of recent celebrities, like, when people die, I feel like zombifying them is a little like, ooh.
Right.
Like, careful. But if you wanted to, I guess you could. Obviously.
So I'm not going to be sending them as friend requests anytime soon, but...
Right. And like your version, if you don't want them to be... If you think that the too sexy costumes, like, obviously if they want to do it, they can do it. But, like, yeah, I can see where you're coming from, like, especially when it's cold out. I'm always like... I remember the time when sexy costumes were a thing, and now I'm 28, and it's like, no, it's not a thing anymore. And let's be real, I've always been creating my own costumes, so it's not about being sexy, but I know why people want to be sexy and want to feel good, and if Halloween your excuse, your one time to step out of your comfort zone, then go for it. But when it's 32 degrees like it is in Chicago, I better not see that. Like, come on, like, don't be dumb.
Right. And I want to actually point this out, because you did mention, when you were doing a lot of cosplays, you created your own stuff. And the thing about it was that you were, in my opinion, sexy in your own way. You didn't have to, flaunt your boobs out or flaunt your ass out. You literally showed, your creativity, and you were also showcasing, certain characters in a certain limelight. So it was kind of one of those situations where it was like, she had sexy costumes, but she was at least, moderate about it. She at least knew how to, tune it back. She didn't have to, like she said, flaunting certain parts of her body out. She was sexy because she created a character in her own likeness. So I give you, major props for that.
Thanks. Yeah, no, it was fun. I guess my final thing, and this is something that I kind of wanted to talk about. I don't like this, but then there's also points where I'm like, okay, that's a little much, but like, I feel like some of these are okay and some of these aren't, and I feel like maybe I'm a hypocrite for saying that, but people said in general, and I agree, the cultural stereotypes are kind of, like, don't do that. The number one thing that I can think of, and I put on my list, and then I was like researching, and I'm like, oh, cultural stereotypes in general. But how about blackface? White people, don't fucking do that. I swore, but I don't care. Don't do that. Don't do it. I don't care. If you want to be Michael Jordan, wear the jersey. You're Michael Jordan. Do not put on blackface. Don't do it. And I know that 60% of people who do blackface, I don't think they understand how bad it is. Like, you look like you're making fun of black people instead of embracing the fact that you were excited to be someone of that ethnicity. Like, I've seen people do it who I know they aren't racist, and I looked at them and I was like, you need to go and take that makeup off, or I am not hanging out with you. They're like, what? I'm like, take it off now, and then we can talk about it. And they're like, I don't understand. And I'm like, that's the problem, so we're going to talk about it, but I can't talk to you until that crap is off your face. And it's not like full-on blackface. Some, like, girls, like, will put on, like, extra bronzer or something, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I can't, even with these people right now, and how dumb you are, and if I'm ever seen with someone like that, I can't be, so, like, get out. Like, I'm not hanging out with you. But that brings on the cultural stereotypes in general, and when I, like, saw it on the website that I was looking up, the picture of Maui came up, how people, like, yeah, like, the actual character of Maui, and I was like, see, now I don't think that's wrong. Like, I didn't think Maui was wrong, because Maui's like a cartoon character, and it's not like, I don't think anyone that I've seen be Maui, like, actually, like, painted their face. I feel like they put on the tattoo skin and stuff, and I'm like, I think that's cool. Like, I think that's cool to be Maui. I definitely don't think it's cool to be Michael Jordan with blackface.
Right. I think that, when it comes to it, I know I just basically slammed a lot of people in the costume business for having these sexy costumes. They do have moments where they are indeed, smart about how they present certain costumes. I think that, whoever presents, Maui a certain way, they realize, okay, we know that, that this is a big hit, but at the same time, we don't really want to offend, anybody, if that many people. So, the fact that there were probably some costumes where they are like, let's actually incorporate, like the Maui, mask. That's one thing. To have like a mask for it, that's part of Halloween. That's fine. But like you were saying before, the whole deal where you go all out to kind of make this makeup to where it is probably still one of the most offensive deals, even to this day. It was offensive back in probably the 50s. It's still offensive now. Why is that? Because, like you said, it feels like you're making fun of a culture, you're making fun of a heritage. I mean, if I want to be like, Jackie Chan, you're not going to see me do a deal where, I tape my eyes a certain way to make it look like I'm Asian. No, I'm going to literally, be out there dressed like him, but I'm also going to try to, do my best, Jackie Chan voice as best as I can because of the Rush Hour movies and other deals. But I'm not doing it to make fun of him. I'm doing it because I'm trying to, trying to show that, hey, I respect his work and I respect who he is. But I could definitely see somebody, dressing up like, I'm trying to think of like a good example, like somebody from either China or Japan, and going out there and just having that, that racial accent where they're just doing that just because they think it's funny without realizing you're kind of making fun of a heritage here. So this is kind of like a really gray matter because I think that, you have to be smart with your decision when it comes to the costumes. Like I said, if you're respecting the heritage, then by all means, you can dress up however you like. But if you're disrespecting it in any sort of way, definitely don't do it. It's not.
Yeah.
We definitely don't need that in this world. We have enough negatives.
I think it's very interesting because me personally, like I really like a lot of different cultures, and one of the main ones is I love Japanese culture, and I have like an actual Japanese like kimono and dress, and it's like I haven't worn it out yet, but if I wore it out, I actually wanted to wear like a nice like black short wig too, but I wasn't gonna like do anything crazy with my makeup, but that's kind of like what the geishas look like, and I'm like, oh, I would totally want to like fully embody like the geisha, like that would be what I would want to do if I went out like that. And I was always wondering, I'm like, are people gonna think I'm racist for that? Even though I know like the geisha culture is like a thing that happened in Japan, like they were paid whores, like, and they got paid good, and they still celebrate that culture. And I'm like, dang. But yeah, it's just very interesting. It's one of those things that's why I brought it up. It's such a controversial issue. It's like some people would really get mad. Like the picture on the website was of a little white boy being Maui, and I was like, Maui's like a superhero in Disney. Like, I would want my kid to feel positive and want to be like him. So, I don't know. It's just a touchy subject in general, and I would just say, I'm like, as long as you're doing it with the right intentions, I guess, would be the way to dress up as such, but like I said, do not ever color your skin and feel like you've done something right.
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree with that. So I think the point of this whole entire ordeal is, when it comes to Halloween costumes, definitely the do's when it comes down to it is to, be respectful, be considerate, also have fun with it. When it comes to, the don'ts, don't be disrespectful. Don't do something as a way of, doing it because you think it's funny, because it might be hurtful to somebody else. And, I'm going to be blatant. Don't be an asshole. Don't be that person in the party that is literally doing it because they think like, oh, well, I have this opinion and nobody's else's opinion matters and blah, 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 blah. We get that. There are people that are like that, and we cannot change that. But you can prevent yourself from becoming that person by being smart about it. Know what is right in this country. Know what is wrong in this country. Be smart about it, and just be respectful about it. That's the main thing that we always encourage. And that's what, hey, you be respectful, you be courage, you're becoming a game changer yourself. That's one of the things that I always loved being. I hate the fact that, in wrestling, they always say, oh, this person's a game changer, this person's a game changer. It's like, do you not realize the emphasis of what a game changer is? You have to have, some strong, backing behind that. The true game changers aren't the ones that are, out there, just doing one little thing. Game changers are people that are out there doing so many things to change the world. One little thing at a time, but one little thing can create all the difference. That is what a true game changer is. And yes, I know I just got really deep there, but you know something? Again, I don't care.
And And I have 3 good costumes if people want costume ideas for tonight. So first off, I think that any costume, and obviously there's some bad blow-up ones, but I love blow-up costumes. I think if you're in a blow-up T-Rex, I'ma hug you. That is one of the most fun costumes. I don't care who you are. I've seen so many amazing blow-up T-Rexes, and you can do anything you want with these blow-up T-Rexes. I've seen Harlem Globetrotter, T-Rexes. I've seen, they dress these T-Rexes up, and there's so many different colors of them now that I'm in love with these blow-up T-Rexes, or any blow-up costume that has, if you have an air fan in your costume, that makes you a puffy, fun thing that is really hard to walk around in. I love it. And it just hits everything. Anytime they're at a bar, they're just knocking everything over. And you're like, there's a blow-up T-Rex. Sorry, guys.
Automatic immunity.
Right. I'm like, I love those. I think they're so much fun. I think some of the most fun ones are the play on words that they just made up themselves. One of these that one of my friends, super clever, she did 50 Shades of Grey. She's like, I'm dressing up as 50 Shades of Grey. I'm like, whoa. And then she comes in with a shirt with 50 different color splotches of gray. And that's her costume. And I'm like, that's hilarious. Do a play on words that is so simple that you did not have to pay for anything. Because those paint splotches at Home Depot are free. So you could have stapled that to a shirt and you can be 50 Shades of Grey. So I love those play on words stuff. I think that's hilarious. Or a hot chick. And it's just you're the chick and you're sweating. Those are great. I think those are always the right choice. If you want to be funny with a play on words costume, always a good choice. You're going to be a winner.
Super Mario Brothers is literally just 2 guys wearing capes and they're both named Mario.
Yes, exactly. My name, who are you? I'm Super Mario. They're like, what? My name's Mario. They're like, oh, great. Okay, funny.
And you are Super Mario. What?
Yeah.
And he's Super Mario. Yeah.
Yeah, you just bought a cape for $5. He wins. And then I think the final one that I have full-on respect for is, just high-quality makeup. When I see someone with full-on, high-quality makeup, awesome. Just full-on respect. It doesn't matter what they're wearing. Sometimes they're not even, wearing anything cool. But, their makeup is just so on point, and they did so much effort within the makeup themselves. That's, kudos. That person probably didn't go out and pay a lot of money for this. They did it themselves. They just bought body paint and did it. And they're like, yeah, I didn't have to put on anything crazy. I'm just going to wear my face makeup, maybe put on contacts, and go out. I think that's the easiest way to do it. Be creative on your face. Do what you want, and it always turns out good. And then I guess the final thing with this face makeup comment would be, how do you feel about the Joker? What do you think? Should people be dressed up as Joaquin Phoenix's Joker this year? I know we're gonna see it, but I know they've been protesting with this and all this creepy stuff. I don't know if I would recommend doing this.
I think it boils down to what I was saying before, is that if you have the right intent... Well, I think that's what we were both saying, was that, the right intentions are what matters most. I think that, just because other people are being really stupid about it, don't let that, hinder you. I mean, honestly, I'm sure people are probably still against the idea of somebody dressing up like the Heath Ledger Joker, because he's literally one of the scariest, most deranged people of all time. But for the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, you can do some of the mannerisms, you can do some of the quotes from the movie, you can definitely do stuff like that, but just don't be, you can be Joker, just don't be the Joker.
Don't do anything crazy.
Yeah. It's
so you think it's cool. You're okay, no, do it. Because I've seen someone do a full body makeup of the Joker, and I thought it was awesome. But then I was also thinking, like, like, should you be doing that? Because I know, like, it's been frowned upon right now to do anything with the Joker, because if you are, you could be insane. But
I think that's
I don't know, I just wanted to bring up the topic before we were done. Like,
yeah.
I know the Joker, I mean, it just came out. People are going to be, like, people are excited. I know people have clothing for it. Like, my brother has a giant, like, hoodie with his face on it and stuff, and I'm like, cool. Hopefully it's just because it was a good movie.
Right. Let's just hope that it's not one of those things where it just starts up like a revolution or something like that. Let it be a movie. Differentiate fiction from reality. It's all good. Like I said, as long as they have the right intentions, that's what matters. And if somebody tries to play off the words like, it said if as long as they have the right intentions, it's like, yeah, meant by don't be a dumbass.
Yeah.
Don't be that person that's literally just like, I'm doing this because this is what the Joker movie told me to do. It's like, no. There's not secret messages in these movies. And Joaquin Phoenix would literally be like, you're an idiot. he would literally be that way. And
he's an actor for a reason.
He is an actor for a reason. And even Mark Hamill would just be like, I know I sound crazy, but I know that I'm not crazy. just I guess we have to end on that note. So, So for those of you that are going out, happy Halloween. Enjoy the festivities. Enjoy, especially for you kids, enjoy the free candy. That's always really good. It does suck that most of you probably have to be in bed by like 7 o'clock because, laws and stuff like that. I know I'm taking a shot at the government. I know. But I remember back in the olden days where we were probably out to like 10 or 12 o'clock at night, still trick-or-treating. But that's just me. I understand that, there's also safety concerns. It's just one of those things where it's like, kind of bummed out about that. Because I would have loved to have seen kids, come in till about like 9 or 10 o'clock, still getting candy and still having a good time. But, again, I get safety, just times have changed. And I hate it. I guess we'll end it on that note. So, guys, be sure to check us out on our Facebook fan page. Be sure to also check out my lovely co-host Facebook fan page. Always has great photos. Definitely leave a like, leave a comment. Also, be respectful. Also, be smart. Because I think that's the main thing we can emphasize about this entire podcast. When it comes down to it, you can check us out on so many different podcasting formats. Definitely check me out on Twitter at RealFNGame. You can discuss so many different things with me, whether it's wrestling related, comic book related. Honestly, I'm liking the fact that I've had a lot of people definitely talking to me about certain aspects of wrestling, or even just, I've actually had some person say to me, hey, I'm going to be meeting this wrestler. How do you think I should act around him? And it's like, well, you can act like this, you can act like this. So for those of you that are curious about, how you should act around wrestlers, definitely hit me up, because I think I'm one of the best people that you can talk to that will always have a stout advice when it comes to that. So, a little cheap plug for me, but whatever.
Nice.
I believe that's going to wrap it up for this edition. So, for those of you that ghouls and goblins out there, enjoy a spectacular, frightful night. If you plan on just staying in watching horror movies, hey, that's one way to enjoy a Halloween. Just make sure it's not all the Saw movies, because after the third one, it's like, wow, this is getting repetitive, like my co-host said. It's the same movie.
To bring the true horror into light.
There we go.
And if you would like, I would love for you to combat that and find horror movies that do actually have some equal substance. But, that's how I feel about horror movies.
All right. So maybe we'll have to read some of the comments from that next week on the podcast. So, guys, be sure to tune into next week, where we'll probably get a lot of hate mail or just some comments of Tori being right.
Prove me wrong. I would love that. I would love to be proven wrong.
All right, so for Victory Bell, I've been NateFNGreat. This is the Game Changer Podcast, making a difference one day at a time. And we'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye. Adios.
Bye.
Change my ways. So I set out, cross that way, strike them down to make them pay, and change